Oh, Jim joins us now. I mean, he is just wonderful, isn't he? I mean, he's been there right from the very beginning, and he sort of seems to be the glue that holds everything together. He's the link between downstairs and upstairs.
Yeah, I think that's right. I'm the only character, really, that inhabits upstairs and downstairs, and I'm the downstairs dad. Lord Grantham's the upstairs dad, and I joined the two halves of the family together.
Yeah.
But in a filming capacity, those are long hours.
Oh, Philip, you've touched on a sore point there. I mean, when we're here upstairs, of course, my job is to be sort of to see all, to hear all, and to say nout, and that's what I do through long days. In the dining room where we were having tea earlier, I stand in the background there, but I do it with good grace and a zen-like patience. When I'm downstairs, I'm more in charge, and it's more energetic and rambunctious. And
but you stand there for however long that scene actually takes, or the retakes with carrying whatever it is you're carrying, knowing that everyone who is in the kitchen, which is shot in Ealing, they're on holiday. They got a break.
Yeah, thank you. You're not going to leave it alone. And when I'm in the kitchens, I know all the posh people are having a break as well.
That is so unfair. When it finished in 2015, you must have been thinking, before, there were rumours of a film, but nothing confirmed at that point. You must have been thinking, quite sad to leave it all behind.
It caught me by surprise, Holly, because, I mean, our life is to sort of do a job, we move on. The circus, takes down the tent and moves on to the next job, and we say goodbye, and we might see somebody else 10 years down the line. So I was used to that, and it came to the last day, and actually it was New Year's Eve in the film, and we were singing Auld Lang Syne, so there's an element of sentiment to the scene anyway. And I felt as, the elder statesman, I should say a few words, and I thanked everybody, and I looked at the crew who'd been with us for 6 years, most of them all the way through the series, and I got quite a lump in my throat, and I was really taken by surprise. So for the film to come along 3 years later down the line was a delight for us all to be able to get back together and go back to the best party you've ever been at, really. Yeah.
Well, he at the end of the series, he went off into the sunset with Mrs Hughes, and they finally found love, which was absolutely delightful. So at the beginning of the movie, royalty is arriving, and Lady Mary, who he has this wonderful close bond with, calls him for help.
Absolutely. Thank God. Otherwise, I'd be gardening. People don't tune into a film to see Carson picking sort of carrots out of the ground, do they? So Lady Mary saved me from that. And for Carson, a visit from the King and Queen is the apex of his career. I remember in Series 1, a Duke came to visit, and I nearly had a fit then. So for the King and Queen to be coming, for me to be called into action, and to stride down the gravel drive to the house was just.
But it causes a great deal of unrest.
Oh, yeah. I
house.
put, Barrow, who's my replacement as butler, his nose is put very much out of joint by that.
And the royal staff do things very differently to the Downton staff.
They do. They come in, and I think in a slightly vulgar way, which rather lets down their employers. they try to usurp us and say, no, we're taking over. Cue for revolution.
Right.
Yeah.
And we won't talk about it too much.
No, we don't want to give away anything else. We mentioned that relationship with Lady Mary, and that, I think, led you to have one of your favourite moments when she got married.
Oh, that was a moment. And instead of sort of saying, will I do to her father, she said to me, will I do, Carson? And Carson and Jim Carter nearly burst with pride and said, very well, my lady, and I was sort of a surrogate father downstairs, and that was, I thought, a lovely moment in the film, and said a lot about that relationship, which was precious to me.
So this time, the movie, slightly different for you, because be it only 3 days, you got to come to work with your wife.
I think it was to save money on transport costs, really. Yeah, we were separated by a field and the King's troop, about 100 horsemen. And then the other 2 days we were in the dining room, but I was on the opposite side of the dining table. I never even got to serve her wine.
Oh.
So, but we were there together,
We had Laura. Imelda was on the show yesterday, but also with Laura Carmichael, who was saying how good you are with the younger, newer members of the cast. But that's something you do all the time.
Well, I've been told this, but I think wouldn't anybody really. I remember Laura I think she was quite nervous because she hadn't worked a huge amount, and I just remember sort of chatting to her, putting her at ease. But then, there's no class distinction, there's no caste system in acting, because when we're doing a scene together, we're working as equals. So why wouldn't you want the equal partner in the scene to be comfortable and at ease? It just seems a natural thing to do. Yeah.
And do you think that's because, in your experience of acting, when you first started out, somebody was like that to you?
Well, certainly, I don't know. I don't think they were, actually. And I remember being on a film set. I'd done maybe 10 years of theatre before I got on a film set, and being really, I didn't know any of the terms, any of the terminology. But in theatre, Guys and Dolls, the musical, was a very big influence on our lives. I met Imelda and got married as a result of it. But Julia Mackenzie was the head of that company, and she showed us what it was like to lead a company. Not a birthday went by without a glass of champagne or whatever, for whoever, member of the stage management, or the newest person in the chorus. Not an event was passed by, and I thought, that's how you do it.
That's how it should be
done. You lead, and I think the senior pros have a responsibility for team spirit in a way.
Yeah.
And looking at this remarkable building behind us, and the fact that it was on our tellies every Sunday for such a long time, the movie out tomorrow, what is it, do you think, about Downton that makes it so special, so loved?
It's just a comfortable, lovely, sunlit, warm way to spend an evening. When the society at the moment is in a rather fractured state, and we go back safely to a time where we can just relax. Nobody's going to be attacked or murdered. There's honour afoot. There are good manners, and people like to bathe in that, I think. It's a slight disappointment that in 5 minutes this building is going to deflate because it's all blown up on a generator. It's the biggest bouncy castle in the world, but you don't have to see that.
Don't give it away, don't give it away.
Lady Carnarvon, I can't believe it. Thank you.
I'm going to ask this because I know people ask this to you all the time, and I know what the answer is going to be, but is there room for more movies? I mean, because we have an insatiable appetite for this.
The funny thing is, Holly, this hasn't really even opened yet, and people are already asking that, which is a great thing.
Yeah.
We're thrilled that people are asking. I think there's plenty of room for more, and I'll be there. I'll be at the front door. I'll even let
some
you
of the
in.
stories are left a little bit. There's more to play within some of the
potential,
stories.
Philip, there is potential. I think we'd be very happy to do it if everybody enjoys the first one.
Well, that's for sure. Thank you.
Thank
you
you.
very much.